What's up guys, Big Ape 93 here today, and I'm going to tell you why I was a little late on getting my episode 50 review out for Dragon Ball Super. As many of you were aware, it was a holiday weekend, and I was also attending a con in Memphis, Tennessee called Anime Blues Con. And then I spent Monday enjoying a little bit of fun for the 4th of July. And without further ado, let's get into this week's review. What's up guys, Big Ape 93 here today to bring you my Dragon Ball Super episode 50 review. This episode is entitled Goku vs. Black, The Road Towards the Sealed Future. The episode begins. We get a recap of everything going on with Black attacking the future and everyone in the present agreeing to go help Trunks deal with Black, when suddenly the storm clouds appear and Black appears, prompting the confrontation between Goku and himself. The episode picks up after the recap with Black observing the situation and everyone else being shocked on just how much the two do look alike. Black begins to continue observing his surroundings, and he clearly points out Vegeta, and he also instantly recognizes Beerus. While this is going on, Whis notices the time ring that Black is wearing, and he asks Beerus to take a look as well, both pointing out that he is wearing a time ring that only the Kais should be able to possess. Trunks confronts Black on how he was able to get there, and it is explained that he used the same dimensional hole in time and space that Trunks' time machine created when he came back to that era. I did notice that when Trunks is getting angry and he thinks about confronting Black, that Vegeta interjects and tells him that he can't handle him right now, so maybe that means Gohan and Trunks will get a bit of extra training in this arc, and maybe they'll get a significant power increase. After this, however, with Goku being as brass as Goku can be, he immediately flies off to confront Black, which results in the initial confrontation between the two as they exchange pleasantries. As you can imagine, it ends with Goku challenging him to a fight. During this time that Black says something of note. He says, "I also wanted to fight you in this body." So does that mean he is only molding a Goku lookalike to try and emulate everything about his fighting style? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. The fight begins with Black blasting Goku back with a giant blast, which as expected, Goku takes no damage at all. While the others that hadn't heard Trunks' story are still confused as to what's going on, Bulma explains it a bit for them and they all fly off to watch the fight. The fight continues to pick up as Goku turns into SS2 against Black. The first exchange between the two is fairly even, which after we note that Black's power continues to increase just as Trunks has told them before that every time he fought him, his power had increased. We now enter the second exchange, which for the most part tends to be even more evenly matched, with Black firing blast at Goku as he is flying to avoid them, very similar to how he did in the Cell games. With this, we switch to Vegeta, Piccolo, Krillin, and Trunks on the sidelines, noting how Black's power is continuing to rise. Trunks questions why Goku isn't using the power of Super Saiyan 3 against him, and Vegeta states that it's simply because Goku likes to play around before he gets serious. After the second exchange finishes, both Goku and Black taunt each other for not using their full powers. We then switch to a bit with Beerus and Whis commenting on how Black's ki is not like that of Goku's, but it is very different, and it is quite strange as he puts it. Before we get into the third exchange, however, Goku tells Black that if he isn't going to fight at his full power, that he will force him to. As the third clash between these two rolls on, the rip in time and space becomes more erratic, and it has a slight pull on Black, allowing Goku to get the upper hand. But as soon as he gets the upper hand, Black's power increases more. As Black's power continues to grow, he sends a blast towards Goku, to which Goku deflects, but when Goku deflects this blast, Black sneaks up and sends Goku plummeting to the ground, and the resulting shockwave blows the time machine over, to which Trunks stupidly blurts out, allowing Black to figure out everything. While Black is distracted by the time machine issue, Goku launches an extremely powerful punch that rocks Black. The two begin to fight again, and as this happens, the pull from the rip in time and space begins to pull Black towards it. Just before it pulls him into it fully, he sends a blast which results in destroying the time machine. Whis explains that Black was able to use the rip in time and space that Trunks' time machine had created, and that was what allowed him to come back to that era in the first place. we get a cut of Black reappearing in the future world. He seems to have taken a lot more damage from the Goku fight than we thought, but he does note that he was able to adapt Goku's fighting style with his own in that short amount of time. Cut back to the present, where everyone is around the fiery remains of the time machine, and Trunks is taking note of how nothing will be able to save his world now that the time machine has been destroyed. Goku asks Trunks just how strong Black was in their fight compared to when he fought him in the future, to which Trunks notes he was just a little bit stronger. After this, Vegeta tells Trunks not to worry then, because both his and Goku's real power is far greater than that. We then get a filler scene of the Pilaf gang acting as firefighters to help put out the fire around the time machine. It's after this that Kid Trunks then asks Bulma if she can rebuild the time machine, to which she notes that where it was completely destroyed it would be nearly impossible for her to build it from scratch. Immediately after this, however, Bulma realizes something and takes off. Beerus and Whis are happy that the time machine got destroyed, more or less, and they begin to explain that they have a bigger problem, as the ring Black was wearing is only to be worn and used by the Kais. As Whis explains the origin and purpose of the Ring of Time, Trunks then pleads with Beerus to give him a Ring of Time that he can use, to which Beerus points out angrily that he is a god of destruction and that only the Kais have the Ring of Time. Goku, being Goku, suggests that they just wait for him to return to that era, to which Whis explains that it wouldn't be possible because without the time machine, Black would not be able to physically appear in that era ever again. After this, Krillin suggests that they use Whis' power of the temporal do-over, but Whis explains that that wouldn't work because he can only rewind time, and that's up to 3 minutes at the most. After another filler scene with the Pilaf gang, we cut to Trunks reflecting on the importance of losing the time machine, and just as he does this, Vegeta steps in and really out of character for him, he tells Trunks not to give up and that they will find a way. We then cut to a bit with Beerus and Whis, and after this, Bulma comes running back saying that she found it, whatever it is, everyone looking confused until she throws this capsule revealing that they still have hope, and when the smoke clears, it is shown to be the time machine that Cell had used to come back in time after he killed Trunks in his timeline. In the ending scene, we cut back to the future with a close-up on Mai, and just in time to see her hand move, indicating that she still is alive, we cut to the credits. It's also worth a note that we get a new ending this week as well. As for the preview for next week, it seems to be largely based on the future and flashbacks of Trunks fighting Black, and explaining more between how the future world fought Black at first and how he slowly wiped out everyone. And that's about all for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching, and if you don't mind, give me a like and subscribe, and if you want more, you can always like my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next week.